Welcome into the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. Tom Leach along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's Director of Mutuals and Simulcasting, as we're going to take a look at the Wednesday card, the last half of it, of the eight race card, which is the late pick 4. But first, we want to talk about the feature race, which is on the turf, and it's a non-winners of 3 allowance race. Usually a pretty tough classification. Got some horses that have tried to make it in the stakes ranks. Jim, where did you land here?
Yeah, we had a couple of these races on Sunday for a tournament, and they wound up being big price horses underneath a logical horse, because you can make a case for a lot of horses here. I landed on Industrial Policy, the 9 from Mark Caskey, and the determining factor was the fact that she's actually won at Keeneland before, and she won. She ran well her last time at Keeneland in the same type of allowance race back in October. Been off since then, but Cassie gets them ready off the layoff. Louis Saez is killing it here, so I got a slight edge to Industrial Policy. And Cassie's other horse, the 7, Old Fashioned Gal, is not as experienced, but they really saw a lot of her last year, and she's won a couple of grade 3s, and she's had one race. She was off from May until March. One race came back, an allowance race at Gulfstream, 7.5, perfect tune-up for this. Got beat by a nose. Now she stretches back out, and I think that she's good. So I think the 2 Cassie horses hold the cards here. The other horse that I thought that might have a shot, that's a complete unknown, is Mojo Rising to Chad Brown. Irish bred, has never raced in the States, has raced only in France, and the last race was in August. So that one's just, throw a dart at the dartboard and see if it sticks. But again, Chad gets them ready, and these first-time North Americans ran for 21%, and Castellano takes the mount. So I think with those 3, that's the ones I'm sticking with in the pick 4, with a slight edge to Industrial Policy.
I ended up going deeper here in the pick 4. I ended up taking the other Cassie for the win pick, Old Fashioned Gal. I like the second off the layoff angle, and then has had 3 works since then. So, as you said, a good tune-up, and then 3 solid works to now get ready for this spot. And these horses coming in from Gulfstream that have been running in allowance races there have really been the ones to go to in these turf allowance races this spring at Keeneland. But Industrial Policy is one I like, and a few more. So let's get to the late pick 4. It'll start in the 5th race, and it's a turf allowance race, first level allowance race at a mile. And I did not have a strong opinion here. I ended up going to Sage Hall, the 3, for the win. Won its debut at Saratoga for Bill Mott, and he didn't win first time out often. And now it's been off close to a year, about 9 months, I guess, and sharp local workouts for this debut. So I'm going to take that one for the win pick, but I also like the 1, She Doesn't Mind, the 5, Precious Love, and the 7, Conquest Bebop. I wanted to go deeper in the next to last leg, the feature race. So I ended up having to take a single here to make the ticket affordable, and I'm not real confident in doing that, but I took Horsepower for Larry Jones, dropping out of allowance company into a claiming race. Horses coming off the fairgrounds have been tough in the claiming level, and this horse has good speed as well. And Larry hasn't ridden Florin Giroux a lot, and he gets Giroux to ride this one. So Horsepower is the pick for me, but if you can afford to go deeper, I think my first choice to go deeper would be Turn Back Time, the 4. And one other angle I'll mention in here, there's 2 horses that have already run at the meet, and it's often an interesting angle to look at. Horses that run back the second time sometimes make a big step forward. One of them's coming off a maiden win, Planet. So, but anyway, I'm going to go with the 9, Horsepower. Then I'm going to take in the feature race, Old Fashioned Gal, Industrial Policy. I like Taylor, the 1. Got to put Mojo Rising on there because of the Chad Brown angle, although his layoff horses have not done really well at the meet in terms of getting to the win. Catch a Rising Star, the 6, and No Fault of Mine just on pedigree. So I'm going to use 6 horses there, and then 3 in the last leg. Baby Wildcat, 1, 2 in a row coming off the fairgrounds circuit. Those horses do well in the claiming ranks here. Same for Cardinal Gal. And then Tell a Little Secret for local radio host, our friend Mike Cameron, has won twice at Keeneland, so she likes the track, and coming off a long layoff, and that's the reason I went to Baby Wildcat for the win pick, just the recency edge. But I think Tell a Little Secret certainly bears watching. What's your pick 4 ticket look like?
Okay, I've got a $30 ticket, but I'm going to couch that with you got more money, I would go deeper in the first leg. To get the $30 ticket. I'm going to single Conquest Bebop, the 7-horse in the 5th race coming out of the Florida Oaks. If she runs back to that race, I think she wins this. She just gave it up at the end. It looks terrible on the line. She finished 11th out of 13, but she only got beat 4 3/4 lengths. It was pretty much a blanket finish, and she was a half length off the lead. She actually got the lead at the half-mile pole, and she was bumped at the start. They really liked her going into that race at Tampa. I think she comes out, and I think would be a deserving favorite there. If you have more money, just multiply it by $30. Sage Hall was my second choice, but all since July, and I like the angle as well. She won for Belmont first time out. He never does that. So those 2 horses are my top 2. And also throw in She Doesn't Mind for Chad Brown if you had $90. But $30 ticket, single Conquest Bebop. Go 5 deep in the 6th race with 3, 5, 8, 9, 10. Battle Midway, Aurora's Kid, Planet, the 9 horsepower, the one you mentioned. And Hush Up the 10th off of Maiden Win at Tampa that might sneak up at a price. So 3, 5, 8, 9, 10. The 3 horses I mentioned in the feature, Old Fashioned Gal the 7, Mojo Rising the 8, Industrial Policy the 9. I think you're covered there. And in the last race, can't believe you didn't make a big deal since you're the voice of the Wildcats with a potential exacta box with Baby Wildcat on top of Cardinal Girl. I would never flip it and make Cardinal Girl on top, but Baby Wildcat, Cardinal Girl just makes sense for the voice of the Wildcats. So
yeah, it does.
I like those 2. Yeah. Tell a little secret. The only problem I've got with her is she's coming off a long layoff, and she is 10 years old, which is a pretty amazing feat in and of itself that they got her back to the races. But she looks like she fits here in the low level claiming race. But she's actually been out a lot of times, and so I would use Baby Wildcat, Cardinal Girl there, and Jackson County Flash the 9 is the 1-1 at Keeneland, and Fancy Hat the 11 drops the $10,000 claimer. But go as deep as you can there. If you single the first leg, you can go 4 deep, and that would be my 4, 8, 9, 11.
Best of luck with your wagers on the Wednesday card. Hall of Fame Jockey Days coming up on Friday, Military Day on Sunday. So a couple of big events. You've got the Double Dog Dare Stakes on Friday with I'm a Chatterbox making her debut as a 4-year-old. And then the Elkhorn going long on the turf for the boys on Saturday. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition of the In the Money podcast for the Thursday card. For Jim Goodman, I'm Tom Leach. And that's the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.